Hey guys, it's Rob here. Today, we're going to be doing a different type of video from what I usually do. I'm going to be ranking every Rock-afire Explosion setup that is currently operating, with one exception. I've been wanting to do something like this for a while, and since I feel like my content is becoming a bit repetitive, I decided now would be a good time to do this. First, let's lay out the basic criteria for what I'll be including on this list. Firstly, any shows from the past that no longer run anymore will not be included. Otherwise, I'd be including every Showbiz Pizza Place location on here, which would not be possible given the varying amounts of footage, or lack thereof, available for them. Second, the show needs to be mostly complete, so if there's any major animatronics missing, then they won't be included here. Third, only setups that are operating currently will be ranked for the most part. I have one exception to this rule, but aside from that, none of those. Also, this is all my opinion. While there are objective mechanical aspects to the condition of a show, there are also other aspects, such as the cosmetic part of a show, that will be opinionated and will affect these rankings. With that out of the way, let's get them ranked.
Disappointment in the game of life!
Ah yes, Chris Thrash's old show. It's quite unfortunate what's happened to this show. For those who don't know, this is the Rock-afire Explosion show located in Wolmi Theme Park in South Korea. It was originally Chris Thrash's show that I believe was used at Showbiz Pizza Zone before it closed. Then he sold it back to Aaron, who sold it to Wolmi Theme Park. Initially, it worked pretty well, but more recent footage shows it working pretty badly mechanically, with many movements being out completely across the entire show. Although the cosmetics do have some issues as well, maybe even significant at this point, it's mainly the mechanical condition that makes this show rank dead last on this list. It's just so poor. Duke's face here really says it all. Currently, this is the only show I've seen in person, being the only truly public show in the US, so I'm a bit disappointed putting it down this far. Honestly, though, there's a reason it's down this far. At one point, this show was an absolute atrocity, looking horrid and becoming very unpresentable. It wasn't until 2021 when Braylon got to work on the show again, since he'd worked on it before, that things finally got better, and by 2022, it was better. Don't get me wrong, he definitely improved the condition of this show quite a bit compared to where it was before, but I'd be lying if I said it was in as good of a condition as it could be. There's two main issues with this show. The first being the cosmetics. They aren't too good, especially the masks. They all look off, with ones like Billy Bob's and Rolf's just looking goofy. Mechanically, they lack some movement, especially Beach Bear, who won't move a lot in some performances where he moves quite a bit. Overall, this show needs some work, and is one of the weakest Rock-afire Explosion setups currently. Update, Aaron is now partnering with the new owner of Billy Bob's Wonderland, and has confirmed that he may work on the show. Whether this will actually fix the show up or not is yet to be seen. The shows after this point mostly come down to cosmetics, since the condition gets a lot better from here. This is a show that belongs to David Ferguson, creator of the Program Blue controllers. My main issue with the show comes from the masks, which are all bootleg. You can tell they're bootleg too, as they have this cheap look to them, and most characters just don't look good with these masks. A few of the masks also have some small tears in them. I believe this show also originally had a Santa animatronic, but that's since been removed and it's just the usual Rolf and Earl. At least I think that's the case. I don't know if he still brings them out for Christmas or not. Speaking of them, you can tell that Earl is a replica, and while it doesn't look bad, I definitely prefer the original real version. Mechanically, they look good. My main issue just comes from these cosmetics that don't look too good.
We've had to stop selling gasoline altogether.
This show is located in Smitty's Super Service Station, which is essentially a museum of sorts with all sorts of Chuck E. Cheese and Rock-afire Explosion memorabilia, plus a stage setup for both. Smitty's Rock-afire show is actually pretty solid. My only real complaint is that a few of the masks look off, such as Fats and Mitzi's masks, and others don't look quite as good as they could, like Beach Bears. But again, overall, this show is quite solid, mechanically working good as well.
Put down that pizza. Get that pizza out of your mouth.
Honestly, I wanted to rank this show higher. I really did. This show is located in a place called the Dreamfactory, a tourist attraction in Switzerland with a lot of cool stuff, including a Rock-afire Explosion show. What makes this show so cool is the extra stuff it has, as they not only have this cool bunny TV reminiscent of the new Rock-afire Explosion one, but they even have a working Uncle Klunk, which is awesome. He's even on a rotating platform alongside Rolf and Earl, which runs automatically, which is even cooler. Unfortunately, this show has some downsides as well, which will hopefully be improved in the future, but affect its ranking for now. Firstly, multiple of these masks could look quite a bit better. The masks that look the worst are probably Rolf and Mitzi's. Rolf's mask looks quite strange, with its details not showing through a lot of the footage I've seen of it. Mitzi's is just downright ugly, and she looks as old as this mask probably is, which doesn't sit right with me. I'm also not a big fan of the glossing of the masks here. I understand it's to increase the longevity of the mask and stuff, but it doesn't look great on camera. Though that's hardly a big problem with the show, and I've heard it looks better in person. They also don't have a Looney Bird, which technically makes this show incomplete, but its other aspects led me to keeping it in regardless of that. There are other aspects that I don't like, such as how fuzzy Duke's head is, but those are the main issues I have with this show. Mechanically, they work well, and I like how lively this show is as well. While this high flow adjustment can look janky at times, it overall looks quite good to me. Overall, the show is awesome, but its flaws really hold it back for me, hence its ranking.
We once dreamed that we would be the best animation company in the world.
Yeah, this is the exception. The show was used in Creative Engineering's warehouse and will perform for people who toured it. I believe it was also used to program more recent performances from the Rock-afire Explosion. Currently, the show is being moved somewhere else, but it will perform again, which is why I'm including it on this list. Honestly, I don't see any real issues with this show. While it did have minor issues in the past, such as a bit of mouth tear on some masks, and Earl's neck having a rip in it, the latest footage I could find of the performing doesn't appear to show any issues cosmetically. I would say this is the first show where I think everything is pretty much perfect for me, and I can't really see any issues to point out here. It's a standard Rock-afire Explosion show, both condition-wise and cosmetically, aside from the creative choice in Earl's clothing. And for that, it's a great show. I'm aware there's 3 of these shows total, but one I know hasn't even begun restoration, and the other I don't believe is currently running. So we'll just cover Matlock here. This is a show at Gulliver's Kingdom in Matlock, retrofitted into a show called the Hardluck Bears, not to be confused with the actual Hardluck Bears. Between this and number 3, it was very close for me, but this one won out for a very good reason. The presentation of this show is incredible, with the stage environment going beyond the 3 stage, which I think is very cool. Seeing prior characters like Choo Choo and Antioch go beyond the 3 stage and reside in this outer area is also interesting, and I kinda like it. I also like how there's a small band of loop animatronics playing behind Rolf and Earl, adding even more to this stage environment. As for the retrofit, it's pretty cool as well. I don't like it as much as the original, of course, but as a different flavor of cosmetic. I find it cool how these Hardlook Bear math were reused for this show, making the name Hardlook Bears make even more sense for this retrofitted show. Design-wise, none are that bad to me, and I overall like the designs. In terms of masks, most masks were pretty good, and I love Beach Bear's mask. Like, honestly, this may be one of my favorite Beach Bear masks I've ever seen. There are some weaker points, like Billy Bob's mask, but nothing here is too bad, which is good. Now for their condition mechanically. I love how this show moves, with the show being fast, but not too fast like Dreamfactory's show is. It reminds me of how the show moved back in the beta days of the Rock-afire Explosion, which is awesome. Overall, the show is amazing, but there's one show I like slightly more. This was a hard decision to make, but ultimately, this one had to take the number 1 spot. This is a show that belongs to Jack Turner and underwent restoration over the course of 4 years, and this year it finally debuted. For me, it didn't disappoint. Cosmetically, everything looks super fresh and clean, and I love each of the different masks. The creative choices taken were also cool, such as the wide beak Looney Bird mask and using raw fur for Beach Bear. It was an odd choice for sure, but one that I actually like, especially since it's reminiscent of Beta Beach Bear's fur. It's also quite insane that the entire show uses his reproduction fur, and really shows how close it is to the original fur, being indistinguishable to me from the original fur. Mechanically, this show is so smooth and looks amazing as a result of it. Everything is so perfectly fine-tuned that it's insanely nice to look at. The cherry on top of it all is how the stage setup is meant to be pretty much identical of that of a Showbiz Pizza Place location setup, with the red valance as well as the wooden sides to the 3 stage, making the experience that much more awesome. Overall, I believe Jack's show to be the best currently running Rock-afire Explosion show. Thank you guys for watching this video. This was definitely a fun video for me to make, as getting to express my opinions on certain topics can be pretty fun. My next video will be a break for me, as I'll be re-uploading the history of Showbiz Pizza Place and Chuck E. Cheese in Spokane and Linwood, Washington, since that video got taken down before and some people didn't get to see it. If you're interested in seeing that, make sure to subscribe and ring the notification bell so you're notified when that comes out. Anyways, I'll see you guys in the next video.